Hi, how's it going? I'm Resident of Colorwood for YouTube, Joel Sains. I'm joined by my buddy Patrick McCray, my buddy Alan Gallant, and we're here to review the movie The Great Escape, starring Steve McQueen. James Gardner is in this bad boy. Charles Bronson is in this movie. There's a lot of people in this movie. So, guys, when did you first see The Great Escape? Patrick?
Tonight. I had never seen it. I'd seen parts of it before, but I had never seen the whole thing. It was one of those movies that you would think everyone has seen. You know, it's part of the canon, and yet they can slip by.
They can.
And this did.
I didn't see Stone 17 until I was in my 40s, I don't think.
Oh, what a movie. I love that movie.
I knew of it for years. But and that's kind of in this same vein. It's a bit different creatively, but it's in the same vein in terms of its genre.
It certainly is a cousin. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Alan, when did you first see this?
Yeah, God. Probably when I was in my teens sometime. I don't recall exactly when, but I will say I was in high school. So that would have been in the mid to late 70s.
I saw this one, let's see, on Memorial Day weekend, about 1993.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
With my grandfather, and it was, the movie had just started. You hear the music as you see the trucks drive into the prison, camp. And what an entrance to a movie.
Oh, it's great. It says epic, epic, epic. You know,
yeah. All of it too. I mean, just the way they enter the movie, the way McQueen just walks into the ice box with the glove and the ball.
Like, and I mean, it's obviously that's a connective tissue for the whole movie. You know, that happened several times throughout the movie. But McQueen doesn't even have, you know, the most significant screen time in this movie, but whenever he's on screen, it's like his movie. It's like his incredible charisma in this role, and in most roles that he ever played, is just fantastic. And he embodies the sort of that rebelliousness that's at the core of these guys, you know. So yeah, it's McQueen's movie whenever he walks into frame, no doubt.
Because Don Knotts isn't in it.
That's right. Well, we all know what a world beater he could be.
He could.
Yes. Yes, he could certainly steal focus. We know that much about Don. But then again, so can Steve McQueen. I mean, it's amazing. Yeah, it's great. He really sort of embodies, and it's a really good. That those first 5 minutes of the film are just really perfect.
What did you talked about how when McQueen's in there? That's a great point, because a lot of this is focused around all the other characters plotting the escape. Now McQueen's a part of plotting the escape, but digging the tunnel and stuff like that. What did you guys make of that, Patrick?
That was a very long sentence, and there was a lot of time between subject and verb. So can we shrink that down? I got lost somewhere around. They were escaping something. What? Bring that back to me.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I'm not making the ha-ha. I'm serious.
No. When McQueen is in this movie,
yes, he is. I checked,
and he's right. When there's times when it's a lot of the other casts get shown, but they're part of the plot too. They're a big part of the planning the escape, which so is McQueen. But they do focus on the other cast members as well, which is a really great job. That's what I'm wanting you guys to talk about. Them. It is McQueen's movie, but it feels like everybody else's too.
It is an ensemble piece.
My answer is yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Joel, you managed to word the question in such a way that it answered itself. This is easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. So I mean, we can talk about the fact that Steve McQueen's not in the movie a lot.
Yeah.
That's for a movie that where he's on the cover of everything. Not really. He's there's not a lot of him in the film. He's not engineering anything major. I think Steve had his own motorcycle, and so they let him be in the movie.
Sure, why
And
not?
and they just and Steve just ride around, and we'll make the rest of the movie around that.
That's right.
And then he falls into the barbed wire, and he gets embarrassed.
Yeah,
and they just let the cameras roll.
Oh, he's got like machine guns trained on him and everything. He's still like,
They
whatever.
added those later.
Yeah.
They thought it was just some weird one-man improv that Steve was doing, and Steve played it off that way.
Yeah.
But in fact, he just lost control of the bike. And that's fine. They undercranked a lot of it. He was only riding at about 2 miles an hour. But with the undercranking and the music, it appeared as if he was moving much faster.
Yeah.
Jewel, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just goofing around.
No, it's all right. I do like how the one guy goes when McQueen's ball, the baseball rolls to the fence, and he goes over and you see the machine gun fire. He's like, no, don't shoot, and he's just going. He's more he's as much testing to see how they'll respond to it, which I like.
He's also he's also attempting to save their lives by having them hesitate before they open fire on these other guys. So there's some valor involved, in what he does.
And it's something that's going to come into play later when he drop kicks a guy from behind who's trying to shoot somebody climbing the wire. Which I like. It's a nice connection in the film. What did you guys think of that?
It's a nice connection within the film.
It is.
I liked it. I mean, I like all of the characters in this movie, and I think the performances are right on the money. And I know that may sound like, too universal a piece of praise, but it's really true.
It is. And the thing is, they're all showing some kind of determination and or bravery in their own way. And in the case of McQueen's character, it's almost impulsive. It's like every time there comes a situation where a choice has to be made instantaneously, he makes the choice to get involved. He makes the choice to inject himself into it. So he's very, very much into that. Then you've got Richard Attenborough, who is cerebral and cautious and planning and doing all of the things that he does, but is also equally as brave because he has to contend with getting caught and all of these other things. And also, he's also responsible for a lot of other people. So,
well, and the Nazis' vision is based on movement. So, if as long as they keep that in mind, he'll be all right.
Yeah.
One of the things I love about this movie most is not just the danger of escape, but getting caught again. And that's something the movie does so well, because when the guys get caught, 50 of them are executed. I mean, and it's one of, someone once asked me, is this the greatest war movie ever made? I said, I don't know, but it's damn close.
Yeah, it's pretty. And of course, it's based on a real incident, which is why it's not completely happy ending kind of stuff.
It explains that title card, that ending card that they show at the end of the movie, where ending cards are frequently shown. To the 50. Guys who didn't make it. It also makes the screenwriters less cruel, because I thought, my God, they put them through all of this just to kill them. And there is a really hard-edged irony with that, but leave it to history to bring that in rather than the screenwriters to have to invent it. Yeah,
and the whole underscoring of these guys are officers and they do get certain special training. They don't get summarily executed when they try to escape and things like that, like non-coms might. But at the same time, war is freaking hell, because they, once they were out there in the wild, so to speak.
Yeah. Uh, Little fun fact here: Charles Bronson did work in the Pennsylvania mines, and so the fear of tunnel collapse was very real to him, which I love. I mean, the fact that he brings some real life, not just to they say to the 50, but to a character that, hey, I worked in the mines. They could, and the tunnel does collapse on somebody.
It does. It collapses on a couple of different people. It collapses on him several times.
Yeah.
And that whole thing is, as you say, it's very real to Charles Bronson. And it's one of the most vulnerable characters I've ever seen him play. He plays it very, very stoic most of the time, but then he reveals, I'm trying to keep it together. I'm trying to keep it together. And no, I can't do it. And he's got this unassuming buddy who kind of helps him through the whole situation.
Yeah. Patrick, what did you think?
Yes.
Si, senor.
What was the question again?
Oh, Charles Bronson, who had worked
Charles Bronson. What did I think of him in the movie?
Yeah.
He was good. And he was working in the mines. You mentioned he was working in the mines in real life. And that's true. He quit around the time that he finally carved or found a vein of mustaches down there. And he made it available to the public. He took one for himself.
That's right. And he took that mustache ride up to Sunshine, right?
That's right. But he and he had that surgically attached and then went through his life, very happily. Do you think he ever met Cy Swerling, who was not just the president of Hair Club for Men, he was also a client. But beyond that, Bronson does a great job here. I'm sure he had relatives with that accent. Because I thought his accent work, I was dreading it. So I thought, if James Coburn is setting the high bar for accent work in this movie, we're in a lot of trouble.
It's true.
And he's not. God, Charles Bronson does a wonderful job with the dialect. And, there are actors who are, some are transformed by, something physical, a walk or a nose or something like that. And, but to get all that sense memory working, sometimes the accent's the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, it's some of the best acting I've seen Charles Bronson do easily, where he's not just finding, his 89th way to be stoic.
Right.
There's something else going on. That's evident in this movie. I wish he had gotten more opportunities or had taken more opportunities to do stuff like this. But he's kind of like Burt Reynolds in the beard. If Burt has no beard, it's going to be a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
If he has a beard, it's going to be a great movie. If he has just the mustache, which is the indecisive intermediary between the world of the beard and face and total empty face, as we call it in the biz, well, then we're in trouble.
Well, it's 1975 to 1982 right there.
That's right. That's right. And it's not going to be Boogie Nights Bert.
No.
It's not going to be Man of Loved Women Bert or Best Friends Bert. Really the golden Bert as we know it. Yes. Well, Bronson kind of fits into the same category. If he doesn't have a mustache, well, you're probably watching this or Once Upon a Time in the West.
Yes.
So and they're good movies, and Charles Bronson doesn't have a mustache in them. So do the math.
And also House of Wax.
Yeah, you're right.
Either.
I'll say this as I don't feel Charles Bronson ever had a bad movie. In my opinion.
Oh,
yes.
Are you saying that Charles Bronson was never bad in a movie?
No.
Or that Charles Bronson was never in a bad movie?
He was in some bad movies.
He was in some terrible movies. He was good.
He was never bad in a movie. He performed.
Yeah, you're right.
Right. That's correct. He had a tried and true way of approaching a certain character. He was very good at it. He was extremely good at it. He was very good when he came out of that, like you said, Patrick, but he didn't come out of it enough.
Yeah.
Would have been nice to see him do it more. But oh yeah, if you want to see Kinjite, Forbidden Subjects, forget it.
Oh yeah.
Straight to video, baby.
Well, there's also Assassination with Catherine Lee Scott.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Conjita, The Evil That Men Do?
It's called, yeah.
That's a different movie.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Now, The Evil That Men Do was originally a film about haunted Korean food, and it was called The Evil Men Do. But they changed it.
Oh God! Oh God! I've seen a lot of Charles Bronson movies.
You've also seen a lot of Mandu, I can tell. Anyway, continue.
Sorry. There's an amazing for those who have never seen The Great Escape. We know this stars Steve McQueen, James Garner, Richard Attenborough, James Donald, Charles Bronson. Yes,
I'm waiting for it. Jewel.
Donald Pleasance.
Yeah, you got it. You brought it home.
Yep.
Perhaps one of the most unsung and breakout performances.
Oh, he's so good.
Donald Pleasance.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
He manages to do so much with such a refined, faint instrument.
Restraint, too. Restraint.
Yeah.
Gentlemanly restraint.
Even though the camera does a lot of work for him by, getting up close, nonetheless, it's like he is just sucking the attention out of any size set, so that you have to, he could be on the set for the Sistine Chapel for Agony and Ecstasy, and we'd be paying more attention to him.
Right. No, I agree. He's totally committed to this type of this gentle person, really, essentially. That's why Garner asked him, "Why are you here? How'd you get here?" It's an amazing performance. When you first see him, I don't know if anybody else gets this impression, but I did. When you first see him, you almost think this guy is withholding something. He could be a spy.
Oh, sure.
And then,
we've all seen Forbidden Journey or Forbidden Voyage.
Yeah.
Fantastic Voyage. That's it. Yeah, we've all seen that. We know what he's capable of.
Yes. He's definitely. We've also seen Blofeld.
Oh, he's so good in that. Yeah.
Down the face.
He could be playing like a spy or something in this. That's the best part of it. You don't know.
Well, he certainly knows spies if he's a forger.
You don't. When you first see him, because he's so restrained, you think maybe he's just the observer spy going, and he's going to report back and all of that. Apparently, I don't know. I've heard this story. I'm not sure who did what, but when Donald Pleasance was, I think, the only major star that was, had World War II, I think, combat experience in this movie, Sturgis wanted somebody to do something a certain way, and Donald Pleasance said, "What? No, like this," and he said, "Shut up, Don! I'm trying to direct here." And then somebody else, like Jim Garner, came up and said, "You should listen to this guy. He was there," and so he did. Because I think he probably dismissed him because of the character he was playing. He's not playing that kind of a guy. He was a soldier, but he was. James Garner, there's another one for you right there. He lends that sort of variety of character, because he's always the guy who's sort of, I don't know, you call him devil may care, you call him relaxed, you call him whatever you call him, he's that guy.
Yes, unflappable.
Yeah. And of course they have him, he's the scrounger. he figures out ways to get things, which is
Which
interesting.
is, basically Americanization of Emily,
Yeah.
because he plays a dog robber in that.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't, whatever it is, he'll do it. And Garner himself was like that. Garner was a stunt driver.
Yeah.
So he and did it a lot of his own physical stunts, much to the chagrin of his back and his legs and his hips later on. He practically physically ruined himself doing Rockford.
Yeah.
But he was the real deal on that stuff.
Yeah, he talked about that like later in life, how he liked doing the Rockford Files, but him doing his own stunts sort of
just about killed him.
Which is just crazy. It's okay to have a stunt man.
Well, I think the last season he may have allowed for that because by that time his back was pretty wrecked.
I love James Gardner's line in here where he says about Pleasant's character, he's not a blind man if he's coming with me, and he's coming with me.
Mm-hmm.
And it lets you know, hey, this guy's really, really heroic. Donald Pleasance's character getting shot is heartbroken.
Oh, yeah.
Freaking in this movie. It's like, damn. Because he did have, like, his character did have trouble seeing, which any character Donald Pleasance ever plays is really, really fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, he was a fine actor. He was a very thoughtful person, and did a great study of what the character called for, and did it on all different levels. He played villains and heroes both. So.
Yeah. What's your favorite Donald Pleasance role, Alice?
Oh my God, this one is way up there. I have to tell you, because this one is really affecting for me as an actor myself. Watching him do the subtleties that he does in this, it's really affecting. But I also enjoyed him very much in the first Halloween movie. I mean, I thought he's kind of the dramatic glue, because he's the one that sort of spurs on the mystery and trying to figure out what's going on and all of this sort of thing. So, I'm just sorry they didn't live long enough for him to bring him back, in the later movies. Would have been fun.
I have a little behind the scenes information on that if you want it.
Yeah.
Well, here's what gets me. In Halloween H2O, they were going to use CGI for Donald Pleasant, to do a Donald Pleasant Sam Loomis.
Mm-hmm.
Now they didn't, but for whatever reason, someone decided it was a good idea to use CGI on a mask. Here's a news flash: it wasn't.
Right.
So yeah. Now that in Halloween Kills, they use prosthetic. They use natural makeup. They don't use CGI, and they use two different actors. They use a physical actor and they use a voice actor.
Right.
Which was okay. It wasn't the greatest then.
Yeah.
But what do you do? I mean, there's only one Donald Pleasance.
The story of in Dark Shadows, the reason why Judah Zachary was played by two guys was because Michael McGuire, who played the physical embodiment of Judah Zachary in his head, he had a nasal voice, and it was very New York. And they didn't want to have that, I think. So they got Keen Curtis, who was the really well-known stage actor at that time, and who ended up he played the upstairs restaurant tour on Cheers. The last few years Cheers was on. It was this sort of effete, bald-headed guy, but he was brilliant, and he had that more resonant voice. So they had him in that one scene. Plus, they used him as voiceover during the possession scene when he possessed Gerard. They used Keen Curtis's voice there too, and it was because, Michael McGuire looked the part, but he didn't sound the part.
I've heard that before, but
Yeah.
I find it interesting that because I love what freaking James Storm did with like how he played Judah Zachary.
Oh yeah, right.
Like he was really good. So it worked out in the long haul.
It did.
You know,
It absolutely did.
so
They only used Keen Curtis in person for the trial scene back in the 1690s, where he had a mask, so you couldn't tell it was another actor.
yeah.
And then when he pulls the mask off, they cut away, and it's Michael McGuire. But he doesn't say anything after he reveals his face. That's it.
Yeah, Michael McGuire looks scary as shit.
Oh yeah, he was incredibly good. Now, you look at Michael McGuire later in the first episode of Cheers, again Cheers, he plays Diane's boyfriend. And he's wearing a toupee. So he looks completely different. And he does not look scary at all. But he definitely was scare material in Dark Shadows for sure.
Like I'm here, I'm just preparing something.
Yep, no worries.
No,
I'm with you every step of the way.
I will say, like, there's actors I've seen throughout the years that looked scary, but then they weren't scary to me until they were in a horror movie.
Right.
Tobin Bell was one of them. Because I remember he was all over the place. He was on Seinfeld. He was in that movie. What was it? Where Clint Eastwood was protecting the president.
Absolute power.
Absolute, yeah.
It's crazy because he was Clint was playing a Secret Service agent, and the guy Tobin Bell's in the opening scene where they're doing they're doing like some sort of drug deal or something, and they hand Clint Eastwood the gun. He goes, "Here, we found this guy. He's a cop." And they don't know it's Eastwood's partner or something. Sure. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll shoot him." And he pulls the trigger, and the gun was empty. And I said, and Tobin Bell's character's guy who handed Eastwood's characters the gun. He's like, "That's what I like to see, no hesitation." And then they,
representation.
Yeah, they hand Eastwood's character his gun back. And then he starts shooting everybody until he gets to Tobin Bell's character. He goes, "You're under arrest."
Seriously?
Yeah, it's like God. But I would say with this movie here, like they handle the danger, the ideal of danger, and the danger and excitement of getting caught really well. That's another thing that makes this movie so damn good to watch, because as you're watching them dig this tunnel, you see the men coming in, you see people coming in, they're all around them, and it's like, God, if they just make one wrong noise, even when they're outside gardening and the guy picks up a rock, it's like, oh shit, is he suspicious? You know?
Yeah.
No, you're thinking of the beginning of The Exorcist, which is in a rock. And it is dangerous, Joel.
It is, definitely.
As veteran character actor Max von Sydow.
Another interesting thing about this movie, I should say, is it's only 8 minutes short of 3 hours long. It is an epic. It is an epic in the classic sense of a Hollywood epic in that. And James Clavell is one of the screenwriters who is well known for writing epic novels and screenplays.
Here's a question for you guys. Alan, you can go first. Is it one of those movies, because you're right, it is almost 3 hours long, but is it one of those movies you're watching, you're not really, like, because it's moving at such a pace, it doesn't feel that long?
No, it moves, and it grips, and it does all the things that you mentioned in terms of building that tension and so on. So no, it doesn't feel like, oh my God, I'm only 2 hours. You know, it's like some movies are like that. This is not one of them. So
yeah. Even like watching this on TV, like with the commercials and stuff when I was a kid, it didn't feel that long. I'm like, wait. So, it's like, wait, did it? I looked at my grandfather. I was like, wait, was this a 3-hour movie?
Yeah,
It's
like 3.5 with commercials.
Yeah,
it's
like,
intense. But it really doesn't read that way when you're watching it.
No, it doesn't. Especially on DVD, it's like you can just sit there and watch the movie.
Keep talking. So I got a stripped female aperture. I'm trying to get this into. I think the threading on this is okay, but I think the threading inside the female aperture has been stripped. So I'm thinking if I put some soap, some hand soap.
I always recommend Astroglide when the male-female thing is a little dry.
Seriously though, I
think you're right. Soap probably.
Yeah. Keep talking. I'm gonna put some soap on this. I'll make it drip.
So we know that James Coburn survives. He walks away. He gets away. He gets into the train car and he's gone. With his little briefcase that they insisted he not take with him, but he took it anyway. Who else gets away? I guess Charles Bronson's character goes into the woods, right?
Yeah,
Bronson. With his buddy. So they get away.
Yeah, they get away. I think very few get away.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, and then of the few that get away, like 11 or 12 of them are returned to the prison.
Yeah.
Dialogue, and then 50 are obviously executed by the Gestapo.
I think because again they're basing this on a true story. I do think because again I didn't do a lot of research, like even after watching this, I just wanted to talk about this so much with you guys.
Yeah.
I will say I do think, in my opinion, they kept this pretty close to as accurate as the real life event.
Yeah, as any movie can. I mean, you obviously have to have rising dramatic this and that and the other thing happening at certain points of time that may not have been, in actual events. But yeah, I mean, it certainly, I think it was done in the spirit of what really happened. No doubt about that.
I think too, like few people getting away, it keeps that realism. And then the 50 getting shot, it's like James Gardner's question of was it worth it is a great contrast of weighing your soul as an audience member too.
Right.
It's like, oh yeah, that's a great. It's like, was it worth it? And it's like you're thinking about the very few people who got away, but you're also thinking about the 50 who got shot, and even before they get shot, the one guy who's good in all those languages, he says, I thought this would be a very short car ride, meaning he thought they were going to get shot.
Right.
And that's something you pick up when you first watch.
I think at that point, most audience members are starting to build dread.
Yeah.
Because that's the way that it's shot and that's the way that it's dialogued. You know that it's not going to end well for these guys. You just know it by the way that it's put together.
At first, I'm thinking, are they gonna? I didn't think they were going to take them back to the camp they escaped from, like the 50. I thought they might take them to a harder one at first. So I'm thinking, no, wait, there's something going on here.
Yeah,
the Germans are losing the war.
Yeah, and then they strap it to a motorcycle, the machine gun, and they shoot him.
Yep. Which, by the way, is fairly historically accurate in terms of a couple of incidents that happened in the war. They know that they massacred groups of people that way. They take them out in the middle of nowhere or whatnot, and if they didn't want them to know and didn't make them dig their own graves, which they did in some cases, they would take them out in the field and say, well, you get out of the truck, now stretch your legs, we got a long trip. And then they just wipe them out.
Yeah. Now, here's a question: if you guys know, would they actually send back the effects of the people who got shot, or was that legit? Or because they mentioned that in the movie?
In some cases, if it's a high-profile enough prisoner, and if people know that they're there,
these were all probably.
Sorry for the dark question.
I thought
it's a very legit question.
It is. But also, that reminds me of the fact that the Stalag commander gets relieved of his command because he's too goddamn humane. You know, there's a moral victory in that for him, even though he's probably being sent off to Siberia or something. Who knows? But I forget the actor who played the Stalag commander, but he's really good at playing that undercurrent of being a humane person in a very inhumane situation. So
Hans Messemer as
The Beaver.
von Luger, the commandant.
Okay, yes, the commandant. That's the guy.
Yeah.
The guy.
I forgot David McCallum is in this as Lieutenant
Yeah,
Commander.
he gets shot.
He dies a glorious death too. He distracts once he sees one of the agents of the Gestapo recognizing a couple of the prisoners, I guess, Richard Attenborough's character and one of his companions, and he just tackles the damn guy.
Yeah. He gets shot near the train tracks, I think. Right?
He does.
Yeah.
That's his. And this was I think this was the year before he got Ilya Kuryakin too.
Everybody seems like they're on the verge of big things, and that in a year they would not be able to get all these people together for the same film.
Right.
Yeah. Well, even with like this movie, I always feel like we talked about Bronson. I always felt Bronson's real breakout was Once Upon a Time in the West. I'm not discounting this.
That was the tough guy, the stoic characterization that he became famous for sure.
Yeah. Because he did. I've talked about this before in the 70s. You couldn't get arrested for making a film in the 70s. And he did some really underrated Westerns in the 70s.
He also did Mr. Majestic.
Yep.
Which is a really good movie. He gets to play kind of a rebel there.
Oh, yeah.
Which is interesting. And of course, the beginnings of Death Wish movies, which went on about 2 movies too long.
Yeah.
But I will say one thing, another departure for him was he was in a television special called Yes, Virginia, There Really Is a Santa Claus. And he plays the
Virginia.
The column. Yes, he plays Virginia. But he also has the double role. He plays the columnist too.
He was in a lot of commercials too throughout his career.
Yeah.
Bronson was.
But that was
he was the voice of Snuggles. He was the first voice of Snuggles the bear for Snuggles fabric softener. Of course, you close your eyes, suddenly it's Charles Bronson. I was like, I'm here with Charles Bronson. I can't believe it.
Really going to buy this, because if you don't, I'm going to punch you in the nuts.
I don't have the hell.
For fun, I'm going to find a bunch of commercials and leave a link in the description box.
I agree. Jules, what would have been the most inappropriate item for Charles Bronson to be a spokesperson for?
I have no.
Summer's Eve.
Summer's Eve.
Just Charles Bronson saying the word douche.
That's right.
Is funny.
Or feminine fresh.
My God.
Believe me, if you're a tough guy like me, you want feminine fresh.
No one has ever complained about Charles Bronson's freshness.
No.
Oh my God.
Which is true. That's a scientific fact.
Right.
Well, here's another one for you. What's Patrick? I asked Alan this. What's your favorite Donald Pleasance role?
Well, of course, as our greatest British American president in Escape from New York.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to admit, he didn't get a lot of dialect coaching in that one.
No, he did not.
Sure, Don can do an American accent, can't he? No, of course he can. He's lived here for
No problem. Hey, the man.
It's like Benedict can do an American accent.
Hey, look.
Just like he says penguin.
He was born in the United States and then had his upbringing in England. Okay, and then he came back.
We've all seen The Rockford Files. What's your guys' favorite James Gardner movie role?
Mm.
King Marchand in Victor Victoria.
Yeah,
That's
pretty good.
really good.
Yeah,
Um,
it's real good. Hmm.
yeah,
The Notebook, honestly, he's really good in The Notebook.
Yeah, he is. I've seen that. He saves that movie in a lot of ways.
He does.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a fine performance. That's kind of a Lion in Winter performance for him.
yeah.
I think it was his last project.
Yeah.
There is a movie, I think most people give a lot of credit to Kurt Russell and Kevin Costner, and they do deserve credit for their performance as Wyatt Earp. But I think a really underrated Wyatt Earp is the late James Gardner in Hour of the Gun. He brings a lot of the dark Earp to life well before Costner and
and in a time when people weren't really in popular culture, Wyatt Earp wasn't a dark character either.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Yeah,
he was one of the biggest of the good guys.
Right.
It's the one movie. It's the one and only movie that gets into the sheriff race historically a bit in the Tombstone movies. If you go, there's a lot of movies about the events of Tombstone, just like there's a lot of movies about the events of Billy the Kid and stuff like that. But I think, here's one. James Coburn. What's you guys' favorite movie of his or a role that? Because he's had a lot of roles.
A movie that we were supposed to talk about, or we were going to talk about at some point, The President's Analyst. I love him in that movie.
I've never seen it.
Jewel, it's a pip. It's great.
I don't consider this necessarily his all-time best performance, but the Flint movies are an absolute.
Oh, yeah, well, it's the same era.
Yeah.
Those are so good, yeah.
Yeah, because I think Analyst came out in 68 and the Flint movies came out 66, 67. It was like bang, bang, bang. It was.
Yeah.
And Severin Darden is in The President's Analyst.
God, it helped was it him and Del Close inventing improv, really the way we do it in America.
What do you got? Well, what's you guys' favorite scene in this movie? The Great Escape.
When James Garner tells Donald Pleasance that he's going.
Yeah.
I love that scene. That's just such a lovely, lovely piece of work between those two actors.
It's in all this tension. There's some uplift there. There's some altruism in that scene. Just
yeah, it's really good.
It is.
You could just take their scenes and put them together as a mini movie, and I'd be very satisfied with that.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many. I love all the cool scenery we get outside the prison. All the extras we get. I mean, this movie
is a very textured movie.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun that way too. That's what makes this movie so much fun is they make sure to bring the element of danger when they're outside. You feel the paranoia with the characters when they're outside. It's really well done. That's one of my favorites.
I'll tell you, the other thing I like in here, and is how subtle they are with the Luftwaffe and the Gestapo maybe being a little different. The Luftwaffe guys, maybe. Yeah. But they don't go into any real explanation.
No.
It's just a piece of brief speculation that never gets explained. And had they explained it, they would have been justifying Nazism. And so they don't. But it's fine to have a character wonder. Yeah. Because it's the same thing that we do when we watch Das Boot.
Yeah.
The difference between a soldier and an actual zealot.
Yeah, an ideologue.
Yeah.
It's like, you get the idea. Luftwaffe guys were in there before all of this. It doesn't excuse being a Nazi.
No.
It's not a, you're not getting out of class free on that one.
No.
But it's interesting if they did note behavioral differences.
Mm-hmm. Well, also the Gestapo had such a reputation, and it transcended, the confines of the Nazi Empire at that time. So
yeah,
they knew what the Gestapo was about.
Patrick, what's the name of that James Coburn movie?
The President's Analyst.
Hold on.
It's fantastic. It's fabulous.
Analyst with an A-N-A-L.
There's even a short role by Barry Maguire. He appears in it.
Barry Maguire.
Yeah, the singer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I just think it's William Daniels also.
Yes.
Total Sound. He's very funny in this movie as the ultimate Republican.
William Daniels was coming off of he was coming off of a very short-lived television show.
Mr. Nice.
Mr. Nice.
Yeah.
Captain.
Superhero show. Captain Nice.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Terrific and Captain Nice.
Yes.
Would you guys be down to doing the President's Analyst tomorrow night?
I can do the President's Analyst anytime you want.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I found it for free on Archive, so
It's really
Sweet.
good. Jewel,
Sweet.
it's really good.
I would pay to see that again, though. I got to tell you right now. I know
do you need a link, Alan? Or
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Just
Okay.
put it in messaging.
All right, I will. I'll message it to you guys on Facebook, and I'll give it a watch later tonight.
Good night. And
Is there anything you guys want to add about The Great Escape?
It's a neat movie. I'm glad we watched it. I'm glad you said yes to my the first of my 3 movies in the you haven't watched that collection. The other 2 being Magnificent Seven and The Dirty Dozen.
I've seen The Magnificent Seven and The Dirty Dozen, and this movie we watched here. I think with what really brings Steve McQueen home really is the end of this movie. It's the motorcycle jump and the end of the movie, circling back to him being put back in the icebox, and they toss him the glove and the ball, and it's just like, because when I watched Steve McQueen as a teenager, I'm thinking, man, this guy defined what cool was long before Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson ever thought about it.
McQueen exactly. Also is coming off of a television show at this point in time, and is really, this is where he's poised to become a movie star.
Yeah. Oh, wait, favorite McQueen movie? I forgot to ask.
Bullet.
For sentimental reasons, The Hunter, because it was his last film, and he was suffering a lot when he made it, but he's very good in it.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the hell out of him in the Thomas Crown Affair.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, it's a marvelous movie.
I mean, you can just say, oh, that's a tie, and that's a tie, and that's a, they're all really good stuff. I really enjoyed Bullet, because that's him is masculine best, I think, in a lot of ways.
Did you see where they copied that in the Metallica "I Disappear" music video?
I have not seen that, so no.
I'll send it to you.
Robert Vaughn, of course, is in both of them.
arguing the case against the Vietnam War, as he usually was.
Yeah. Oh my God. Guys, this was a lot of fun to do. Great movie. Great choice, Patrick.
Yeah, it was. Nice.
So tomorrow night, The President's Analyst.
Oh, God, it's so good.
Yeah, this will be fun.
Links to Patrick McCray's Dark Shadows Daybook about is going to be in the description box. Link to Alan Gallant's YouTube channel, Collins Port After Dark. Go check it out, God damn it. And give it that man a subscribe and turn your bells on and notifications on. Give them a listen. I go pick up Patrick's book. Guys, have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow.
Catch you later.
See you.
Yeah.
Bye.